behind?
They didn't really say, did they?
No.
Okay. All right. We are live, and I'll just a quick introduction of myself. I'm Ray Fearing. I don't have my lower third on yet. I'll get to that. I'm in Crescent City, California, and I'll just be handling the moderating of the Hangout today, but our facilitator is Laura Robertson. Go ahead.
And I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia. I teach at an independent school, and we have a variety of experience with going partially paperless, and we do use all those tools, so I thought it would be nice to talk to other people about what they use and don't use.
And I'm Ryan Archer. I'm in San Diego. I actually teach in San Marcos, which is just north of San Diego. I am not paperless, but that's one of my goals for next year. We have My Big Campus, which wasn't on the list, but that's what I'm planning on using. I've used Moodle in the past, and we are a Google, I don't know, the GAF or GAF or however you say it. We have all the Google apps for the students, so I figure that will be a huge help for next year.
Awesome, and we just got a new person.
Hi, Ken.
Can you hear us?
Ken must be muted.
Yeah.
Let me open up the chat here.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yep,
yes.
Perfect.
Oh, cool. All right, figuring this all out. Never used this before, so.
Awesome, you're doing great.
All right, sorry I'm late to the party.
No, it's good. We just kind of went around and introduced ourselves and talked about our experience with being paperless or not being paperless or some of the tools we've used, so just jump in.
Very good.
So are you paperless right now, or what do you teach?
No, I teach middle school math. I teach 8th grade math, and I'm sure it'll be a miracle if I can get paperless, but we just turned into an Apple district from PC. There are several middle school our high schools are one-to-one with MacBooks, but our middle schools are not yet. We have about 6 teachers, of which I am not one of them, that have iPad minis that they're experimenting with and trying to see whether or not that is feasible or not in the middle schools. So that's kind of where we're at. I do have access to classroom laptops, and I've been fiddling around with Edmodo and a couple other platforms in the math realm, but just trying to get ideas at this point.
Ryan, what do you teach?
I teach chemistry most of the time, and then I'm also teaching our video production class, which is like the TV news in the morning, because I'm at a high school. I taught that at the middle school also. I was a middle school teacher for the past 8 years, and I went back to high school last year, so it's my 2nd year teaching chemistry.
That's awesome.
And I'll just mention, I'm sorry because I didn't mention, I'm the Ed Tech coordinator for Del Norte County and Crescent City. We're a Google Apps for Education district and county, and I used to teach biology and general science and was going paperless about 5 years ago, and then moved to the district office. But using Google with the kids has just made it awesome, and really cuts down on the paper that you use in the classroom, and the students like it, as I'm sure you'll talk about.
Yeah, so I am an American Studies team teacher, and I'm the ESL director at our school. And we do, I would say, a balance. Our American Studies, all of the history pieces of that are all online, and we've used Livebinder a lot. I've started to use Evernote personally for all of my lesson plans, and I have saved all of the stuff that we used last year into Evernote. Haven't used it with students yet. I'm kind of interested to see people who have. But Livebinder was really great for us. We also, like I said, we're kind of balanced because I have a hard time with the kids reading literature online. They just don't seem to remember it as well, and there's some evidence and data that kids have a much harder time kind of finding stuff on the page when they're reading it on the screen. So the literature piece we have kept with paper, but we do all of our submissions of papers and assignments via Google Apps and Google Docs and using that kind of stuff, and that's been great for us. What do you guys, in terms of using, like, what has been most successful for you? And what is the biggest concern?
I'll jump in. Last year at the end of the year, here's what I have as far as classroom goes. I have 42 netbooks, so they're similar, I think, to the Chromebooks. They're small, but
Hmm.
they work, and it has its own wireless network with it, which is great. And there's no printer, so that they can't say, "Hey, can I print this?" So I figure I'll save a lot of paper that way. Um, the problem is it's a one-to-one combo, so I share it with another teacher, so it's not truly one-to-one. And he's trying to add a third teacher, and I'm trying to say no, that's not going to work. So hopefully I can have those more often. And as far as science goes, what I started doing at the end of the year, my last 2 labs, I didn't print anything. The handout that we normally give them was online, and then they copied and pasted, or they shared the document with themselves, and then they submitted it back to me, all on Google Drive. And so that was great. It was a little bit of a nightmare for me to grade. It's not something where I could sit there and quickly go through it and flip it over and see if, just check the data table. I just scroll around and click in this. And so I wasn't super happy with that. I'm trying to figure out ways to do that. I mean, maybe just have them do the data table and the answers, just the things I want. I try to get fancy with it and have them take pictures of the lab, and I thought that would be pretty cool, and I thought that they would like that. Got a lot of complaints, but I figure that after we do it a few times, they'll get used to it. But that's kind of where I'm starting. I'm going to start off the year also with my syllabus being digital, and I'm going to try to flip the classroom too. So I'm going to have the parents hopefully fill out a Google form instead of a signature on my syllabus. So I had a nightmare about that a few nights ago. It was day 1 of school, and I didn't have my syllabus, and I grabbed one and ran to the copy machine and started copying it, and I was like, oh, my first day, and I'm already using 200 pieces of paper.
Yeah. No, sorry. I'm getting a message from Beth Niebuhr, who's trying to get into the Google Hangout but hasn't gotten into the Google Hangout.
All right, sorry about that. I'll take care of it.
Perfect. Sorry. So I have a lot of your same concerns, I think, Ryan, in terms of, or it's hard to grade, especially from the Google Docs, because I had a really hard time organizing them. And I know that there are folders, and I keep them in folders, but that's kind of why I went to Evernote, just because I found that and I'm sure you have more students than I do, but I had like 70-something American Studies kids, and they were all doing research papers, and all the research papers were Google Docs, and it was like a nightmare trying to having them be where I wanted them to be. So that's kind of why I'm playing with Evernote a little bit, just because I think that it might be easier just to have each kid have their folder. But again, like, I do think it takes longer to grade. For writing, it's been great for me. For what you're using it for, I think it could be a little bit of a nightmare. Because the writing is great, because I can work on their writing right on the screen, and they can see me, and I have unlimited space. But it does take longer.
Hey, Laura.
That's a bad thing. Yes.
I have heard a lot of great things about Evernote, but I've never really fooled around it with myself. Is there a way you can give me just a mini synopsis of pluses and minuses, or what it is, actually, I guess, first?
Yeah, so Evernote is an online file cabinet, and it syncs with all your devices. So you have it on your iPad, you have it on your iPhone, you have it on your computer. It's like a Web 2.0 tool, but you can also, if you have a Mac, just download it. And I think you can probably do that on PCs, but I'm not very PC literate. And so what happens is you create these notebooks, and then you file things into them, and the notes come there. You can also clip things right from the internet right into your Evernote file cabinet and put it into whatever folder you want. It has really changed my life. I have a great article, and if I'm not as savvy with these Hangouts, but if there's like some way for us to share, like maybe on Twitter or something, I have a lot of articles that I used when I was getting started that just gave me some basic information. It's been awesome for me because they're searchable. So you can search for keywords. They also search PDFs. They turn PDFs into searchable documents. Mm-hmm. And so everything that has the word that you look for comes up. So like if I have a lesson plan, I'm talking about the civil rights movement, if I Google or if I search civil rights, like everything is going to come up there. You also tag things. It's really great. I've used it at home for like organizing. I've got 3 little girls right in a row for like organizing the bins where I keep their clothes for the next season. Who moves out? I mean, and I'm not organized, but Evernote has been great for me. And I haven't seen people using it with their students yet. I've tried like to initiate that, and I know there are people who are doing it really successfully, and I've read a few blog posts about it, but I think it might be a good in-between for me between the Google Docs and like the Livebinder, because the kids can't really post to the Livebinder. They can, but that could be a nightmare too.
And what do you teach again?
I teach American Studies, which is a humanities-based class. It's basically American literature, American history, and then I'm also the ESL director, so I teach ESL, either English or history, depending on what other teacher I don't have. But I know that a lot of our flipped, some of our math teachers are doing flipped classrooms, and they're using a variety of different tools, including Google Docs, et cetera, to kind of organize things. Have you used Google Docs at all to have kids collaborate? Yay, I think we have Lisa coming. I'm going to put this little link up in the chat too, although it seems like it's antithetical to what we're doing. It does have links to my Livebinders if you want to see kind of what we use. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
I just stuck a link over there also, and it's the article that I read for Evernote. It's like I've been using Evernote wrong the whole time, and I haven't applied those techniques yet. I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to read this, I'm going to subscribe to Evernote, I'm going to go all in, and I haven't done it yet. But I hear people like you talking about how it's really made things easier. So I think
that was the article. That was the article I read, and that's why I did it, because I was just getting frustrated with Google Docs. Basically.
Yeah, I have had kids collaborate on Google Docs, and it was pretty good. At the end of the year, when we were pushing for our state test, what I did was I broke up our entire book into sections, and 2 kids worked together to make a presentation, and then they actually made a screencast where they made a little 2-minute video about it. So they collaborated on the screencast or on the slide, on the Google presentation, and then they used Screencast-O-Matic to make a video. That wasn't super collaboration because they were sitting next to each other, but I've also done it in labs because our lab groups always have 4 or 5 kids, and so I'll have it where they can open one doc and turn one doc in for the group. But the problem I have with that is one kid ends up typing everything, and so I don't know if kid 3, 4, and 5 are actually doing anything, or if they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs. And I'm also a little bit concerned with the computers next to the chemicals. Just as far as the logistics of technology next to fire and chemicals.
Yeah, I have all that. We do. Our kids actually, they started collaborating. The first year we taught this course, it was a pilot course, and the kids started creating collaborative study guides for each other and with each other, and that has carried on through all of our classes. And that's kind of one of the coolest things that I've seen the Google Doc do, is that our kids take our study guide and they turn it into, they are a little bit insane. The last study guide for our final exam was like 70-something pages. Oh, she made it.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can see your picture.
Okay, couldn't get it to work on my Chromebook, but I'm trying it on my Nexus here.
Awesome. I'm Laura. I am
Ryan.
an independent school teacher. There we go.
You see me now? I can't see myself, so I'm guessing you can't see me.
We can hear you, though.
Okay. Well, I'm Beth. I just got my very first teaching job ever. I just graduated college, and I'll be teaching special education here in Wisconsin.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really awesome. And have you used any of the tools, or are you trying to go paperless, or what would be most useful for you since you just got here?
Well, I'm a big Evernote user. That's something that I've used for planning my lessons and doing some prep work and just kind of compiling resources and things. But in my student teaching, I've used Socrative and Infuse Learning, which are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah, I love Socrative too, although we did move to today's meet just because I had a little bit of a hard time keeping, sometimes with the anonymous feedback, sometimes the kids would get a little bit wild, not wild, but just it was a little harder to control, although if you do it in the quiz, there's ways around it, but I did really like it. We were just talking about Evernote because I just started using Evernote, and both these guys are interested in Evernote, so maybe you could talk about, have you ever used Evernote to collaborate?
I have a couple of shared notebooks, not so much collaborating on notes or things like that, just because I don't have a lot of people around me that use it.
Yeah. What do you think you would use Evernote in your classes?
Yeah, I actually really like this new service that's in beta right now called Postachio, and it's where it's POST. Let's see, let me bring it up.
I'm just going to put it
POSTACH.io. And it lets you basically create a blog based on one of your Evernote notebooks. And I think that would be great for having students do portfolios, reflections, all sorts of things like that. It's in beta right now, so it's brand new. But I really like the idea of being able to have kind of a a conglomeration of your notes that are also published for people to see, and you can create drafts and keep it as kind of a working portfolio.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I mean, so it works with Evernote?
Yeah, you basically create a notebook that's called Postachio, and then every note that you create in that notebook and tag published will be posted as a published blog post. So like I have one, let me see if I can bring one up. Maybe I can post it in the chat here and you could maybe bring it up, since I don't think I can do a screen sharing on my Nexus. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll send that.
Okay, I see that. Can you do a screen share?
I don't know that I can do it on my Nexus. I'm trying to get back in here on my Chromebook.
Here, hang on. I might be able to pull it up and then... Huh. Okay, hang on. Let me try and do this. I have not done this before, so
Sure.
this is... You gotta let me know. Is that working?
No, it just came in on you still.
What is she trying to share?
I'm trying to share what Beth just sent us, and I clicked on screen share. Share.
Is it the
Then you have to choose this.
the greener things?
Yeah. This thing.
Okay.
So I guess that's what it...
I've just pulled it up on my own browser here.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we can probably just do that. I'm going to click off of that. Okay. Now if I click on screen share, will it go away? No.
It should. It didn't. Beth, I see in one of your posts that you use IFTTT. Are you pretty good at that too?
I really like IFTT. I use it a lot for Twitter and cross-posting between my Twitter and my Google+, and now that Twitter's kind of revoked their access, I haven't used it quite as much. But I really do. I like it. I just got a Pebble Watch that I set up to have some notifications sent through IFTTT. So I really like that service.
Okay, sorry, another dumb guy question. What is that?
It's not dumb guy. I just set it up too, and I don't think it's really I mean, I feel like it's not working. It's like a script you plug in, right? Like you set it up and you say, when I do this, then, like when I like something on Twitter, then send it to...
Yeah, so the way I had it used, when I posted something to, let's say, I think I had one set up for when I posted something to Google+, and I had a hashtag in it, Twitter, it would automatically read that hashtag and then post like just the first few lines of it to Twitter. And so it would kind of relay and allow me to cross-post a little bit. But there's tons of different things you can do with it. If you just go to ifttt.com, You can kind of poke around a little bit.
Yeah, and what it does is it says, like, if I like something on Twitter, I want it to go into like this particular Evernote folder. So it basically, it puts you, it allows you to say, if this, then this. And so it's nice, especially for curating things that you want to keep track of. Although I have to say, like, my curating, I think, has gotten to the point where, like, I need to stop. I'm like on information overload in too many different places, but it's a really neat tool. I was wondering, in terms of things that were script-like, if you have ever used any of the scripts that teachers have created for trying to make Google Docs more manageable. I forget, there's a couple different ones out there, and they like create spreadsheets, and then it makes it, I was wondering if that would help solve our grading issues.
I know that one of our English teachers has created, in forums, you can have it do some grading for you, like a self-grading forum. And then they have, she's an English teacher, she'll have specific, very common responses that she gives in their writing. And so she's able to just click, 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 and then send that email back to them with that feedback, and then put more specific feedback, on the doc itself. And so that's kind of sped up a process for that teacher. Also, a math teacher does the same thing. They use the script that lets you self-grade and then email the student those responses. Are you guys using those?
I have not, but Doctopus, I think, was one of the ones that I was thinking about. There are people that are developing these scripts that the time and as much technical know-how as maybe I need to like install them.
Yeah, I think Doctopus is a great one where you can send out the document, like especially for me with the lab, that we get out to them. Unfortunately, our students don't have, they have Google Apps access, but they don't have access to that email. So I can send that to their personal account, but then I have to know what their personal account is, and it's another password, and it's just a kind of, I didn't go for that.
Have you used Selly at all? I just started looking into this. It's I think it's SELLY. It's an app, and they allow you to like send text messages and things like that to kids with either through their cell number or their email. And I think once you send it up, it might be pretty easy. I was thinking about using that maybe to back channel with students, and also to kind of give them information. Because I'm a little bit worried about doing like back channeling through Twitter, which is public, or Socrative had some stuff. Today's Meet is good, but I think this might be like more things in one place, and I'm wondering if that might work.
I haven't heard of that one, but I've used Remind 101, and I think it's the same kind of thing. And I only used it for parents and for like, hey, there's a test coming up, or hey, this is due tomorrow. So I didn't do it as back channeling, but I think you probably could.
Yeah. Have you guys used any of that, Beth? You seem pretty techie.
Yeah.
I have never heard of Selly, but I just pulled it up, CEL.LY. But I have heard of Remind 101, and that was something that I was really interested in looking into setting up, just for, like you said, setting up a reminder, like, oh, we have an IEP in 2 days, or this meeting is coming up, or this assignment is due. So I think I really like the idea of using that, as getting ready for my first year here. I'm not exactly sure how receptive parents will be to that, but I'm looking forward to kind of putting that in play and seeing if there is interest in that.
Well, Remind 101 is great.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Ryan.
I think that was Ken.
Oh, sorry, Ken.
That's okay. No, go ahead.
Remind 101 is great because, the parent or the student, I use people in my department to remind them of meetings and things. They have to accept that, so they have to sign up for it. And I've found that people that we know that have used it really like it because it's on your phone. It's a quick reminder. They don't have to go somewhere to get it. It comes to them, and they can opt out whenever they want. One thing I would recommend is when you're using it, whether it's Selly and I haven't used Selly, or Remind 101, is have an alternate way for somebody that doesn't want the reminder on their cell phone, that you can still send out an email as well. but it works really well. And the fact that they opt into it makes it so they get it right away, they understand it, and then they've selected to use it.
Yeah, we've used Remind 101 quite a bit. We have middle school concepts, so we have 4 teachers on a team, and what I do is I gather all the homework for the entire team, put it onto a Google Doc, and then send that link out on Remind 101 so every student or every parent knows what the homework is that night, so we don't have any excuses of I didn't know I was supposed to do that, and so forth. And so the Remind 101 has been great for that, in addition to just any reminders of bringing in forms and money and reminder about field trips and things of that nature. And the best part, as Ray was saying, was that you don't have any control over, like, if someone's not getting the information, they have to sign up for it. You don't control who's on that list, which is kind of nice because the maintenance of that list of who's in and who's out is not in your hands anymore, and so you can't get blamed for not giving out the information and so forth. So they opt in and opt out, like Ray was saying, and I think that's a great feature. Plus, they don't have access, like students and parents don't have access to your cell phone number, and vice versa. You don't have access. It's a third party that sends it all out, and it's great for that regard too. And I've used my iPhone as well as doing it on the laptop here as far as sending messages out. It's great. So.
I guess I have just one question that I'm interested in, just thinking in terms of for myself and just philosophically, like when we talk about going paperless, why do we want to go paperless? I mean, is it like an environmental? I mean, I have like a bunch of different reasons, and then I also have like those other reasons that I blogged about, which I worry about when they read on the screen. Are they really reading? There's other issues with screens, but I just wonder from your perspective, like, what's the point of going paperless? Is it something that
music came on.
Is that Beth?
Yeah.
Is it something that we like? Do you feel like ethically, or why go make this transition?
I can start. It's one of my goals for next year, so I thought I would just blog about that, which I just started blogging, which I think is powerful in itself. But I'm going to have to go through now and blog about each section or each one of my goals, and one of them is paperless. So I think that just looking at the end of the year at how many stacks and stacks of paper I have, and I was at a school 6 years ago that didn't have any recycling, and so it just kind of kills me as a science teacher to think, wow, we really are burning up all that paper. I think that we can do a lot more without the paper too, and I think that I had the argument that when they get into the workforce, they probably won't use paper as much. But then I told that to my wife, who works at Qualcomm, which is a real big tech company here in San Diego, and she says that anything that she gets, she prints out, and then they just recycle right afterwards. And so that kind of dashed my dreams of, oh, well, when you get in the workforce, guys, it'll be all digital. But maybe by the time they get, after they go through college for 4 years and a few more years of high school, it will be more that way. So one of my arguments was environmental, and the other one was kind of getting them prepared for what they're going to have later on in real life, which may or may not be true, I guess.
Oh, I think we have a picture of Beth now.
Hey, we do. We
Oh,
have just 2 minutes left.
I'm trying to get it going on my iPad here.
It works.
Yeah.
So if everybody wants to maybe share the reason for going paperless, that'd be, and then I'm going to end the broadcast. You're free to keep going and talking, but at about 11, I will end the broadcast.
Okay. Ken, do you want to go?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to talk
Well,
about?
I mean, just the thing with Ryan. I mean, I'll piggyback off Ryan and just say that the fact that we're preparing students for jobs that, I mean, what is the statistic out there that half of the jobs that are going to be out there don't exist yet, or they'll be created in the next 5 years or something like that. So I guess that could be an argument, Ryan, in your favor in terms of getting kids prepared for the paperless world, so that the job description to be written might not be might be paperless. So hopefully that's what we're preparing students for. But I don't know. I guess I'm kind of in the same vein, Ryan, as I see at the end of our school year. I mean, I don't know how many trips my students made to the recycle bin, just cleaning out lockers, cleaning out desks, cleaning things out at the end of the year, and it just seems like there seems like there needs to be a better way. So I guess that's my main purpose. It's partly environmental and partly just ease of mind, I guess.
I know that when I was department chair, the budget at the end of the year, we would get the report back on how much we spent on paper in our department. And I was like, okay, we could spend this money elsewhere. And then when I was teaching bio and we had a student, I started using Google, and they were using their personal accounts. We didn't have Google Apps for Education yet. And this one student comes up to me, and in high school you've got 180 students. And he came up to me and he said, I turned that in. I'm like, no, I don't think I have it. He goes, it's in your Gmail. And I searched, I didn't find it. And of course it was there, and we were able to locate it because I can't lose it, and we're all human. At the end of the year, you take your bins or wherever you collect papers, and there's always that one that was back there that the kid swore he turned in, and you're like, no, you didn't. So the student looked at me and he goes, why don't all teachers do this? Because then I can never lose my work. It's always here, and I can always have a history of it. And I said, okay, we need to do something like this because it was beneficial to the kids.
That's kind of where I'm coming from, just from a personal perspective. I will forget it if it's on paper. I'll forget it. I'll leave it somewhere. But if I have my Dropbox, I have it with me everywhere. If I have it on my Google Drive, I have it with me anywhere. I have it on my phone, on my iPad, I can get to it wherever. So that was my biggest thing, just as, just leaving college, was that I had everything with me all the time. So I couldn't have that excuse of, oh, I left it sitting on my table at home. But I just really, it was a little bit more reassuring to have it with me all the time, to be able to update it when I'm taking the bus to school, or just all sorts of things like that. Having it with me all the time is my biggest, just the biggest help for me, I think.
And I think for me, it's all of the above. And especially, I like for my kids that if they do use Google Docs or they do use Evernote, then they do have a portfolio of their work. I also like the ability to change things. Sometimes you make that assignment and you're like, actually, I didn't do a very good job explaining it, and you have the ability when it's a digital document to share it. I still have my other hang-ups about, I do think there's a value of paper. I worry about what we pass on to our children. Are we just going to hand them a drive full of our iBooks, or will we, the books? I'm an English teacher at heart. But yeah, I think all of those things. So I think probably we've got to jump off, right?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and I know we all want to go back and see what's available for session 2. And
Awesome.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you. It was really nice to meet all of you.
That was fun.
Bye. That was really fun. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.